Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Nitro Racing League Network podcast. Welcome, episode 10 of the podcast series, here with myself, Mr. Bacon, Mr. Puck, Mr. Andrew Wisdom. We're here to talk about everything Nitro and some sim-related thing, or racing sim-related things as well, for the week of March 7th. Howdy, fellas. Welcome back. It's my episode 10. Right?
When's the not Matt episode coming?
That's a great question. Well, we got to have someone whose name is not Matt host it, I guess.
The technology is just not there yet.
Technology.
The anti-Matt.
Yep.
Do we have enough non-Matts to make a podcast?
Yeah, I don't think so. It's just inevitable at this rate.
8 or 9
The
people.
Mattcast.
Half of them are Matts.
The Mattcast, yeah. And we might be getting another Matt and iRacing. More on that later. Here for episode 10, we just finished Belgium in F1, which I feel like, well, I forgot how Karma scheduled this year out, but this seems pretty late for a Belgium race to happen. Usually Belgium's kind of the midway point of like the usual F1 season, or maybe I'm just completely wrong and I forget how stuff works, or how F1 structures their schedules. But we just finished Belgium there. I don't know if I would say another dominant race by Mahu, because I think he had some issues with his wheel later on in the event. Yeah, I guess even with the issues. Now, he had issues at Monaco. It sounded like he's still having issues. It sounds like installing driver updates for his wheel doesn't correspond to Xbox, which from the beginning I didn't think it did either. But the headline wasn't that though. Belgium, just like Russia, we started the thing off with rain. So at that point, qualifying was just who can go out there and get on the dries, or the fastest tire compound, and get the fastest laps first, because it did rain later in that qualifying session, and then it did start in rain for the race. Most of the race, then after the what lap did most of us start pitting? Was it lap 6, I'd say?
Yeah, something like that.
And it was pretty mixed too when DRS became available or whatever. It was a very weird time on the track.
I'll just say this about I'll just go back to qualifying real quick. I didn't get to lay down a lap because I forgot to change my differential. And going through Rouge and Radeon with a differential that you're not used to is, I learned the hard way. Not good.
Did you? Oh yeah, you wrecked out in qualifying, did you?
Yes, I did.
Oh, unfortunate. Now, do you think that was because of differential?
I think so. Because I feel like I attacked it just the same. I was in practice, and I didn't usually have troubles through there. So
okay, that's fair enough. I think for me, I never really touched the differential. I just kind of dealt with it up that hill. I don't think I really changed the differential from whatever the default set or differential numbers were for the setup I was running. Now it was an interesting qualifying session though. I mean, I think, what was the top 4? It was Mahu, Kermit, Bacon, and me. Bacon, did you do what I did? Did you run? Because I think I ran my qualifying lap. I ran one soft tire for 2 laps straight because I knew like with less fuel the car would be a lot lighter and a little bit faster.
I ran just one.
You just ran, okay. Yeah, and even with that, you still had more pace on me.
I do believe Kermit pulled as well, but Mahu cleared him into turn 1 off the start.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, from the outside. I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, and just you get that run off the corner turn 1 and you're gone. It's like, good luck catching you down the straightaway.
From last, which was P11, I believe. I think I got to P8, concluding the exit of turn 1, which was kind of nice.
That's cool. Yeah, and I feel like in the past we've had a lot of carnage in turn 1. I don't think it was bad near the back of the pack, unless I'm forgetting something.
Oh, it's mostly, I think, self spins.
Yeah, that's true.
For Radeon.
Yeah, I don't remember any big wrecks, just in general in the race. I had another mega start on the launch. Like I was looking 3 wide on Kermit and Mahu, but couldn't seal the deal. I was just kind of backed out of it and followed Mahu.
Side by side through 2 sectors again.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, the start on inners are going to be sketchy. I think most of us made it up Radeon fine on that initial opening lap. Yeah, and then like I was going to say too, that transition from when the rain stops has been very weird. Like we haven't had too many rain races this season, but it seems like whenever the rain ends, it only takes like a lap and a half for the track to dry up. And I thought it dried up like really quickly too. Although it was weird, like that transition period, it seemed like the inters were still okay and the dry compounds were, just coming in. So I guess it helps that kind of in between crossover and the weather means you can kind of run 2 different compounds and not throw your race away, I would say. Of course, I threw my race away by hitting the exit curb just at the start of Sector 3, which is awfully annoying. I repetitively told myself that all weekend not to hit, and sure enough, I hit it, I think, on lap 4 or something. So at least in the rain, that wasn't a struggle to handle the car around, but the dries, I was just holding on for dear life once that came about. Bacon, I know you were mostly up there in the top 3. Kind of how was that pit stop for you? And just kind of afterwards, like, were you gaining ground on Mahu when he had his wheel issues? What was all happening up there?
I mean, he pulled a good 13 seconds through that final run, but I mean, as soon as he started wheel issues, I mean, he was still pulling, but not as much. It just kind of leveled out. I don't think, if I remember, his wheel issue wasn't exactly like force feedback. It was straight shifting.
I think it was shifting, yeah. Was he saying it just wasn't wasn't reacting to his shifts or something?
Yeah, it might have been an input issue.
Inconsistency there.
Yeah. And I think Karma even mentioned that too at one point, that like, or was it Karma or one of you guys? I thought someone said like the car made an extra downshift or something somewhere.
Oh yeah, Karma had a double downshift, which it kind of happens mostly on controller.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare, but sometimes you'll get a double input for some reason, and then next thing you know, you're max revving.
Right. Yeah, I've maybe only had it happen once though, because I've been usually pretty clear with my downshifts. Or I usually try to downshift a little bit later in the, down on the lower on the revs, not so high. Yeah, but regardless though, that's with that stint, I thought it was going to stay green the entire time too. Like most of the field is pretty spread out. I think, oh yeah. And so the thing that was weird about this race too was that on all of our radar weather maps, we had a potential chance of rain within the very last, like, well, not last 10, I would say like between 45 minutes to 60 minutes on the weather breakdown. So it was very interesting to see the tire strategies after when we all went to the dries around lap 6 and 7.
So we were, I think our idea was we're going to go to mediums and stretch them because, I mean, the hards, I don't think we could really keep pace. The softs weren't worth it. Mm-hmm. And thinking there was going to be rain with say 5 to go maybe, and it just never came.
It never did. Yeah. Yeah. With 5 to go, it was still fairly sunny, barely, it was just partly cloudy at that point.
For me personally, I would have taken the mediums even if we didn't have the potential of rain coming. I just thought it was that better of a tire compound for a majority of the run. I just never felt like the hards would come back.
Yeah, the hard struggled big time.
It's kind of hard for me to tell where Karma's speed was relative to me. I don't know if he was actually faster or even slower, just because it was hard to tell, because we were never on even footing throughout the race except for like the couple interlaps, but those are wet laps, so maybe we run differently in that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was gapping him a little bit. Actually, came up behind him at the start of the cycle on my mediums versus his hards. Got him in a couple laps, stretched the gap to somewhere in the ballpark of 5 seconds, and I think it was still marginally increasing towards that safety car period with like 6-ish to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he would have got it back if I kept my nose clean.
Yep. And I can kind of say the same for Gale between me. Like, by the time we were in the dries, like I said, I had that floor damage, just a light lime green, but it was enough to throw the handling off a bit. And Gale was on the hards, I was on the mediums, and prior to a few of the times where I just kind of messed up a couple corners or, made a mistake, I was gaining on him on the mediums, and those hards really weren't pulling away. So, or holding him off. I forget how it all went. I just kind of forgot about the race after all that. But yeah, those hards just never really came in, even if they were trying to make it to the end. And even the wear on the mediums, I think my wear would have been near 70% had it gone to the end. So I was within that window of like blowing the tires. I was definitely pushing.
During that stint, my eye was more so on your Delta, because you were the car in front of me rather than Karma's, because I figured with your floor damage, and that Delta was coming towards me in my favor.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been close. It would have been like a 2 to go or last lap kind of deal for me.
Yeah, it would have closed up right there at the end. I remember that too, just looking at the relative and thinking I might be losing another spot here. So it's like, do I defend hard? Do I just try to, stay with it? What do I do? I think at that point I didn't have enough ERS recovery. Like I was between like 8 to 15%, and I was trying to manage that over the course of a lap. So it was like, I'm losing time.
I had it kind of locked down to around the 60s for like a good portion of that stint, and I think that's even what I had remaining at the time of the safety car. So maybe if it got to the point where I got to attack you, that could have made the difference.
For sure. Yeah. But yeah, by the time you caught me, probably would not have stood a chance. That would have been for fifth, wouldn't it be? Because I think it was Mahu, Bacon, Gale, and Kermit were up there, and then I was fifth, and then so speaking of Kermit though, unfortunately, but in all, at the end of it all, the rain never did come at the end.
No, even with that one safety car.
Yeah, and we had a safety car, and Kermit spun in the exact same spot I got the floor damage, which is off of that corner coming to sector 3. I don't know what corner name that is. Pretty much that final leg before you get to the chicane and the start and finish line. But he caught that. That was enough to bring out the safety car. And I think most everyone in there just pitted for softs, I think. And that was like, were we 2 or 3 to go from that safety car?
I think we had 2 laps to go, because I think if I had DRS available to me, I would have played it a bit differently on the final lap.
That's a good point. Yep, that's a good point. Yeah. So yeah, it was just to basically a green white checker at that point in terms of NASCAR terminology. That was a struggling restart for me though, like because of the floor damage. Like the only thing I think that was saving me was the soft tires. Like just because those things had really good grip, that was the only thing that was keeping me from defending. Like I had to defend from who was it? Had to defend from you or Karma first? I think you were the one immediately behind me, right?
It was me, and I think we kind of had an awkward start, because the problem is the leaders have already gotten going, like while we're in 4th, 5th, and 6th, making the final run of corners, doing the like zigzag.
Yeah, that chicane bit. Yeah. It's not really a chicane, but yeah.
You just you just can't quite throttle up the same, even if you've almost rounded the corner.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of destined to lose time there.
Yeah, and I thought I got off the corner fine, but then when I looked behind, I thought maybe you got a bit loose off of it, and Karma was already charging.
And I think Karma might have even had to give up a little bit to not pass me because of my little wobble. Because I want to say I made probably like 3/4 of a second up on you the first lap. I thought it was like a 1.5 seconds at the line.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely dwindled it down. Did you spin on that final lap, or because I know it was then Karma that was behind me?
Yeah. So what ended up happening was heading into Eau Rouge, I had about half a second down or half a second behind you, and I really thought at the time that I wanted to make this move in that run of corners rather than in the third sector, which honestly might have been smarter. Just given the risk reward factor through pushing through Rouge, because I mean maybe I wouldn't have even got to you had I nailed it. I'll be completely honest with you. I took the corner flat out. Wasn't the first time I did it throughout the race.
Yeah, I think, I mean, when you're on the soft compound, it's a little bit easier to do that.
I took it flat out. I knew I could do it in practice. That was just the one time it stepped out for me, and I pretty much crashed the exact same way Lando Norris crashed in the wet in 2021.
Yikes.
Yeah, so it was a little disappointing. I mean, it was like a guaranteed fifth if I held Karma at bay. Would have done wonders for the constructors battle. Ended up being P9, dude, in the end, which ended up being like a neutral kind of finish for pretty much all three constructors. Nothing really changed much.
Yeah, no. If anything, the constructors are still fairly close. We should look at that in a moment. But yeah, end of the day, Mahu still brings in P1. Bacon with a solid P2 after the win at Monaco. Bacon, I bet you're probably feeling a little bit better, even though at this point, I think our prediction is Mahu's going to win this championship. Like, he'd have to have a row of really bad races at this point to not be in the championship fight. But I'm sure you're happy to maybe gain something on Gale after his 9th and 3rd place finishes at Monaco and Belgium, respectively.
Yeah, I think that's just the goal now, is just finish strong. I mean, if I'm able to finish second in driver standings, I mean, compared to I've been over my F1 career, and to be able to finish like on podium, I don't even think I've ever finished on podium in driver standings yet.
Yeah.
So
not that I'm aware of.
Crazy.
We can take a look at. Oh, that's.
I mean, I got close to 2 in a row, but spa restart go burr.
Yeah.
Literally coming off that chicane, he was already like a second clear by the time I got out of there.
Yeah, and looking kind of just browsing through stats, I don't see. Yeah, finished 6th that one season. That was Max season 6. Nothing much else really. So yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then 5th was last season's finish. So 5th is so far your best in terms of points finishes. So you're already doing really, really good compared to previous season. So yeah, I mean, even if you got, I think at this point you're kind of locked into either finishing 2nd or 3rd in the points. So those are going to be really, really good for you there. Yeah, no, it's been a really close battle between myself and Karma. It's been really weird. Like, Karma's had a strand of really good races, but then he's had these like one-off kind of just off performance races, and I've had mine, of course, as well. So the fact that we're a 1 point difference after me finishing 4th and him 5th is quite something. So it's pretty much a battle between 2nd and 3rd and 4th on down between myself, Karma, With the speed that Kermit's had, if he has a string of good races, I wouldn't be surprised if he's using that battle too. It just takes a couple wins and some podiums, and you can really gain the points. But yeah, end of the day, after Belgium, Mahu leads the points with 318 points. Second is Gale with 240, Bacon 223 in third. I myself am fourth with 182. Karma 181, Kermit in sixth with 119, Puck with 100 even. Eighth place is LCS, ninth Libert, 10th J, and the rest is the rest. Constructors currently looking, again, very tight. And again, if you guys want to go check out all the results and everything, you can head over to our website, nxrl.weebly.com, to see all the standings and everything like that. We currently got McLaren on the top step of the constructors with 421 points. Red Bull pretty close behind. You guys have 409. And even closer is me and Bacon and Alpine with 400. And Toro Rosso... Oh, did I just say Toro Rosso? AlphaTauri in fourth with 190. I hope that doesn't date me back too old. But yeah, no, definitely pretty close in the standings. And we got some good tracks coming up. We're going to be going to Hungary next week. Following week's will be Monza. Then we get to go to Imola. Is this the first time we're going to Imola in Nitro? This is the first game that has Imola, I think.
I don't know if they've had it in previous titles. I'm kind of a young blood for the F1 side of things.
Yeah, in that case, I don't. I mean, Imola used to be like a classic track, but I don't think we were racing in Nitro then. Like, that would have been back in 2011. Shoot, I don't know what had 2010. If Lazy was here, he'd be able to name it instantly. I don't know if Andrew remembers either. But yeah, I think it was definitely way before Nitro's time. But yeah, I think that's going to be the first time we go to Imola. Well, yeah, because this is this is the first season we're on this game in 2021. Yeah, so we've never been to Imola. So Imola should be really cool. Puck's home track, Canada, will be after that. And the final three. Okay.
America's swing. I'm just looking. I'm so excited.
I think it's going to be good. I mean, even Coda usually is like a toss-up race every year. I mean, it usually tends to be a fairly boring race, but I've seen some names pop up at Coda that have, maybe performed better than at other places. Mexico is another really interesting track, and the all-famous Brazil will be our finale. So that is the final, 7 races? The final 7 races for the F1 season. I guess we can talk about it now. Well, should we talk about it now, or maybe we get to NASCAR? Let's get to NASCAR, because it'll tie into the end with everything here at the end. So that was Belgium. Moving on, NASCAR was Mid-Ohio, my home track, Mahu's home track. I rage quit. I paused and bead after lap 18. Yeah. And I mean, I'll have to be honest. I mean, with how well iRacing has been going on the Nitro side of things, like, I've just kind of lost motivation to continue NASCAR. I mean, for me, I just kind of want to push through it, especially being on the wheel. I felt really good at Dover and Charlotte and a few others. And if I had some really good runs there, I feel like the tracks that I think I'll perform well for the rest of the season, I'll continue to do well. But that was my Mid-Ohio race. I was just frustrated at the physics and how the car would react. I mean, it was just so unpredictable lap after lap. I know, Puck, you weren't there. So, Bacon, how was Mid-Ohio for you?
Well, about the same. I mean, I spun probably 5 times. I had an interesting moment. I mean, it was mostly just Jeb just dominating a race, lapping everybody. I was near the back the whole time. Just felt like, God, NH5s, the road course physics are so bad. You'll go for one corner fine, and then next corner your car's on 2 wheels for no reason. It just catches you for no reason. So that happened the whole race, and then with, I think, 4-3 to go, I was behind Mahu, who was a lap ahead of me, and he was just trying to let me go. And we were going to the second, I think the final corner, that little right-hander for the left kink. And I get to his outside. We did a little crossover, and I'm coming out second gear, and as soon as I try to upshift into third, spins right in front of Mahu, wrecks him, caution comes out.
Man.
Almost as the race is over.
Had only I stayed.
I mean,
I would have had a shot. Won, yeah, Jeb still won.
Kermit kind of got screwed from it. Some other people kind of got to the room. Karma finished second out of that whole mess.
And Karma was like fifth or something for most of that run.
As he mildly put it, the least deserving second place he's ever had.
Yeah.
Mid-Ohio, road course racing just sucks. It's just how it goes.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think back to why we even put it in the schedule. I mean, maybe we were just, unfortunately. I think we were just hoping it was going to be like it's a different race. It's a slightly different road course, but at the end of the day, it was just really hard to race with anyone just because of how bad the physics were. But yeah, I mean, and even with that, like you said, even with that late race green, white checkered or late race caution, Jeb still goes on to win. He had a third place at Road America. Kermit got that win, and it's pretty much been him and Kermit that are the king of road courses this season. So definitely looking at them performing well at Indy. And now that Kermit has the win, and with the amount of points he's racked up with only 5 starts, I think he's playoff eligible, which is embarrassing. But I've made every single all 9 attempts, and I'm currently the cutoff in the playoffs. But yeah, if I think him and Kermit are going to be the ones to look for at Canada. If they're not doing too hot in the points, Canada's going to be what maybe helps them to try to get that championship at Iowa. So I'm interested to see that. Obviously, Watkins Glen coming up here in about 5 weeks or so. That should be interesting to see as well. See if one of those two can pull it off. And I know Mahu's kind of in that mix as well, so I wouldn't pull him out of the equation too for a decent road course finish. But yeah, that was Mid-Ohio. I mean,
Mahu's he's like a Kyle Larson at road courses now. It's like it's not even like his specialty, but like he can still do it and win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I felt kind of, what's the word? Not greedy. But like after my performance at Road America, like I had spun twice, I think, within the first lap, and I spent the entire race just trying to regain positions, and I wound up finishing 5th, which was a pretty good rebound considering I had to pass quite a few cars to get that 5th. Like I think I was down to like 11th or something, or actually probably more than 11th because we had like 20, at least 20 guys. Yeah, 20. Well, Road America. Yeah, we had like 20 guys show up, so I must have been down closer to like 15th or 16th. So to go to 5th after all of that, I thought, I'll be fine at road courses, but I just kind of gave up. So, I mean, it's tough, especially since there's so many of us now going to iRacing. Like, kind of wish maybe we just held off this season a little bit more just to see how many people would get iRacing and just do iRacing. But the other half of that equation too was seeing if Ignition was ever going to be a viable option, and obviously it hasn't. So we're pretty much stuck here. But I mean, yeah, I'm kind of like with Puck here. It's like I've lost interest, and LCS too. I mean, LCS has also called his quits on the heat side of Nitro, and I really don't blame him. Like it's not fun anymore. Like. Or at least for me at this point, I don't know if Bacon or Puck, you guys can relate, but it's like just because our focus is now over to iRacing once season 11 is complete on Xbox, like it's not like we're going to gain anything from each of these races we do. Like it's not like we need to continue building up a notebook, to help improve us for the following season. So I've just kind of lost interest, unfortunately, 9 races in. So I don't know if you guys feel the same too about that.
Even before the iRacing side of things even kicked off for me, when the season started, I just didn't have that same like drive or like kind of joy playing this game anymore. It's just really washed off on me. Like I used to have the time of my life running trucks in Xfinity and put practice into it, and really take pride in my craft, but like this season, I just feel like I'm showing up for the sake of showing up, and I don't want to run these races because I just don't feel like it's a good waste or good use of my time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really yielding me joy, but at the same time, I do want to still show up and be there for the people who want to race and still want to enjoy this game, because I understand that when people don't show up, it just kind of takes a little bit out of it for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. When you don't have the numbers, I try to tell people that too. It's like, yeah, when you don't have the numbers, like, or if your reason to not show up is because the numbers aren't there, then why are you still here? It's like, yeah, like I still care, but too, like I'm, even though I had one bad race, I just didn't feel like it. Like, it doesn't mean every other race is going to be that way too. I mean, I wasn't happy about Michigan. I'm still on the fence that I think the draft was what caused people to drive the way they drove. But those races are going to happen. Not every race is perfect. That's motorsports, and we just kind of move on from it. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, still got a season to complete regardless. I don't think Karma is going to quit on it yet. He's going to try to make it, all 23 races. And, I think I support him, and I think everyone else in Nitro should still support that and at least try to, make an attempt. So, we'll hopefully all do our part as drivers. But yeah, after Mid-Ohio, Mahu still sits on the top step of the points. Man, is Mahu has anyone ever swept Cup or a NASCAR or F1 championship? I think we've had a couple do it close. Or Andrew, have you done that?
Thought it was Andrew.
Yeah, actually, no. Yeah, I think you did do that.
He did it last year.
Last season, yeah. See, that's why I don't remember it, because it's like I was gone for a season and a half, and then just crap happened so quickly.
Oh, don't give me that. You were there for both of those.
Yeah, I guess I was there for those. I forgot Andrew's first. Well, let's see. The season I left, I don't know. It's all confusing. Let's fact check this.
Mistaken.
I know it's. Let's see. Yeah, season 10 and season 10. Yep. Okay. I'm just dumb. I don't remember stuff.
Chaffe, it kind of took us longer to kind of hit it off with each other, because when you retired was actually my rookie season in the trucks. And I also didn't get into the Formula One side of things right away. So, like, we just never really communicated with each other.
No. Yeah, I mean, I left kind of around the time when Gary Owen had brought a lot of, like, you guys, like, subscribers and things like that and viewers to try out for Nitro. So it's kind of gone through all of that. And of course, because the numbers went up then that sparked my re-interest in the league. I mean, the original point was to take a break anyways, just kind of like where we are now. I just wasn't really having fun. So, but regardless, as I was saying, Mahu's leading this. We'll see if Mahu becomes the second driver in Nitro history to take both the F1 and NASCAR championships. Still a bit early in NASCAR, call that, but he is leading with 680 points. Again, the points do reset once we get to our chase, the old school style chase. Kermit currently in second place with 442 points. Karma 439. Bacon in fourth. Even in fifth. Kyle, Mr. Hard from Menard, is sixth. TikTok seventh. Eagle eighth. Combat ninth. Libert 10th. Jeb is 11th. I am currently 12th in the cutoff position. Then we got Puck in 13th. 14th is Gale. 15 LCS, who I don't believe is making another start. I told him he can make a start one or twice if he wanted to, but I don't think he's running full time anymore. And that's pretty much it. I think Joseph might return for a few more races, and Gas Smoker might still be there. So yeah, there are your points at the moment. And in the team standing is currently Joe Gibbs Racing leading the way with 730 points. Chip Ganassi with 680. Yeah, that will mostly continue being Mahu.
I have not contributed once to this.
Yeah, Stuart Haas is at 505. I gotta open up a new tab. 505. Yep. Is that even right? Okay, yeah. Hendrick is fourth with 431. Penske has never shown up. Next one would be Petty, which would be Combat. Combat had good running there at Mid-Ohio. Brings the team up 295 points. Starcom of Gale in 8th with 175. Gale's had some mediocre races. I still feel like he's kind of near the back. I feel like he's going to have a breakout race sooner than later. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And then the rest of the field there. So those are pretty much your top runners there from Nitro Cup. Next week we go to the Tricky Triangle. We haven't gone to Pocono in a long time in Nitro. I hope Pocono isn't another case of just the physics being really weird. Like, I do remember when I first made laps on the wheel, it was just very awkward. Part of it might have been the setup as well. So we got Pocono. That should be an interesting one. Loudon right after that as well. We also haven't gone to Loudon in a long time. And I feel like the same for Kentucky too. So Kentucky will be, those next 3 races are going to be very, very interesting. Might tell a different tale for maybe some guys moving up in the on the grid or back or whatnot. So that's everything from NASCAR Heat. That completes half of the weekend, I guess you can say. Next thing we got to talk about is iRacing. We had, in my opinion, and I think in most people's opinion on iRacing, the second greatest week in Nitro iRacing history. Definitely one of the better races. We had, again, I think 17 guys show up for it, which was really good. And I'm going to pull up the UI as well, just so all of us here in chat can take a look at it. But after Daytona, after Bren's win, we went to Phoenix, the mile short. Yeah, I can't really call. I mean, I guess Phoenix is still a short track. But we head there for our little evening/night race. So again, 17 of us there. We had a new guy join us who was Hayden joined us, and I think he had Andrew, he had done some G Lobby stuff, right? Is that how he
That's what I was told. I think G Lobbies or Gary raced with them on his own or something at some point, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay. So but we had him, which was cool. So it added to the list. Like I said, we had 17 guys show up, which is phenomenal. It was a 125 lap race at Phoenix. And it was just a very, I personally think it was a good race from the vantage point of like entertainment. If you're going for entertainment factor, it definitely wasn't there. I mean, it was a very much old school kind of NASCAR race where the field was very much strung out. And I don't know if that's just because that's probably because the skill level, everyone's skill level is a little bit different, or the experience they've had in the car. The one thing that drove me crazy was the racing line at Phoenix, though. I feel like ever since they updated Phoenix from the version where the start and finish line was on the straightaway to the start and finish line on the dog leg, I feel like you just have to completely drive the track differently. Like, it's just not the same. But Andrew, I know you were up there battling with Karma and Hayden for the most part. How'd you feel running the high line and 1 and 2, and kind of what were you expecting going into the race?
It was definitely odd. The last time I did a race there was a Cup League in like November, and back then, I think the middle was the best line because it was after they did the reconfiguration, so it was the same track, but okay. The middle was like the best line, and it was almost kind of like you could enter a little higher in that middle lane and then put your lefts like on that seam, and just run the middle the whole way around. But then we got going in this, and guys were running like all the way against the outside wall, and then just bringing it down on exit. It was weird. But I'm definitely still the king in 3. If you miss the bottom, you're kind of screwed. But
yeah, and I know there's a lot of people that still are confused about by that corner. Like for me, you just have to start that turn in early. You have to start turn in early, start the braking early, and kind of hit the apex sooner than you think the apex comes off. I mean, it's not really that big of a corner, too. I mean, if you think about it, by the time you enter the corner, like you should already be thinking about exit. So it's a much shorter corner than I think most people imagine. And I felt that way too. Like, I don't know how often you ran the bottom, but just bottom in 1 and 2, I should say, like I just felt like it had no grip, like at all. Like even if I tried kind of going up to the middle and then arcing it down, trying to like diamond it off the corner, like it just felt like nothing was there on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay on entry, but you really had to get back up in the middle of the corner, I think. I don't know if it was like necessarily if there was like a grip strip or something on the top, as much as like it sort of just felt like it was just the same as like the middle or the bottom grip wise. So then like you gain so much speed off the exit because you're not really losing grip and you're just basically straight lining the exit instead of having to lift or whatever for the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
Bottom, I think it was okay if you had like fresher tires and somebody like managing a pit cycle or something. But if you were even with somebody racing for position, I don't know. The bottom didn't really seem that great.
Yeah. Did you feel like you were saving tires going up that high, or kind of like, or what? Like, was it wearing the rear more? Like, I don't know why. I still don't understand why the top was so much better.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I wasn't using that much right front, regardless, even running the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was really just being patient with the car and letting it rotate on its own a little bit before you got back on the gas. It was really just the best way to try to save right front. I don't know if it really depended on the lane or not, other than just that, like, I don't even know if you want to call it a diamond, because it was kind of like entering high and exiting lower, but
That's true.
Whatever the heck that thing was seemed to be okay on the right front, but maybe not as much on the rear. I don't know.
Right. And I would say now, Puck, I mean, for you, I don't know how many laps you had done in at Phoenix before. I mean, I know you've been doing plenty of fixed events in the Xfinity car as well. Coming from us who were, we were obviously basing our lines off of Hayden and Karma. I mean, Karma was right in the bottom. Hayden was the first one to like go up to the wall really early. What, like, from you in the back, what were you kind of seeing from other guys, and what was your game plan going into the race?
Well, first of all, what do you mean by the back? Because
I wasn't there. I call it the back if I'm not there.
Well,
middle. You were top 8 pretty much all race, top 6. So I mean,
well, I was a part of that breakaway group with like there was the 5 of us. Eventually, Caleb Kermit, he caught us, and he was a fast car. I think at least I was expecting him to make it to us. He just had a bad qualifying effort, but like, I was only like not even half a second down to either you or Karma for like a good portion of that first stint, which I honestly felt great about. It felt like I was like punching above my weight class and really getting some good experience out of it.
Yeah, definitely lurking. If any of us had made a mistake, you were pretty much there.
I was trying to stay on the inside line through 1 and 2. I was kind of just hoping like lower corner speeds, maybe the tires can come to me eventually. But I think just the way you exit and the way you're graining your front, trying to keep it off the wall while you accelerate, I guess it just maybe doesn't even make a difference. Maybe it just wears quite similar.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying tire graining. That was something that I was struggling with too on that second run, and we were pushing so hard to catch Karma after that final restart. I at least in those cars, I don't think I'd really ever felt knew what it was like to feel like the right front was graining, and it was struggling. But I'm still confused as to why my tire wear was so even, because I thought the right front was about to fall off of it.
Mm-hmm. And I do remember, like, one of my Fulcrum teammates, they mentioned to me during my NIS Vegas race, which might be something I'm keeping in mind for Vegas, and I don't know how it's going to do in the Xfinity car, but it's almost like when you do run up higher on the track, like the way you come off the banking on exit, you're actually putting more wear and more weight on the right rear. So in theory, if you're running like the second or third lane up, you're going to be like, and like if you're struggling with plowing, you can run up higher and you'll start to wear the right right rear off a little bit more, so it kind of evens the tires. So I said, I wonder if that's just the only explanation for running like the wall basically in 1 and 2 in Phoenix. And plus the Xfinity car is just, it drives so much different than any other oval stock car really in iRacing too. So it's definitely a different way of doing it. I mean, even I was telling Bingaman, like, I felt like the only car I really liked around Phoenix was the Gen 6. And that's because I think with the amount of power that you have in the Gen 6 and just its base and everything that the Gen 6 is, like, you could easily just run the bottom, you know, and still be really quick there. But that's because that thing packed, you know, 750 horsepower. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I thought the same thing too. Like my game plan was just to run the bottom in 1 and 2 and be fine. But yeah, definitely not the case there. But yeah, I mean, you know, start of the race, that first stint was definitely quite a battle up front. I mean, it was again pretty close between Karma, Andrew, and Hayden up there. We hit green flag pit stops, and of course, classic, midway through a green flag pit cycle, caution comes out. Unfortunate though, you know, nothing on purpose, or it wasn't even a big wreck either. It was unfortunately just Caleb who on fresh tires spun out and exited turn 2, which I've done several times on fresh tires, and I don't blame him for that. So that changed the whole race. The weirdest thing was the whole wave round situation. You know, there were how many cars do you guys think were on the wave around? Like at least
7 or 8.
Like 7th on down, maybe.
I think
8th?
I was I think P5 or P6. It was one of the two. And I was the lucky dog.
And you were lucky dog. And Bingaman had the EOL, so he was just stuck a lap down or 2 laps down or whatever. Or you know, just 1 lap down. And yeah, and I can't really think of much else. So yeah, but basically, you know, because it was at, you know, in that green flag pits cycle, like guys like myself who had pitted and just stayed out under the caution, we decided to take the wave around. But the wave around was tricky because as soon as you guys got to the restart zone, which by the way, Karma mandated it before the race that we had to restart within the restart zone. We couldn't pull off any weird shenanigans down the straightaway.
Too.
Very fair, very valid. But even then, like me and I think Matt Sisseler, we were like, both of us were just at the end of the straightaway and you guys were already in the box, and barely any of us that got the wave around even had a chance to be lined up, which I thought was weird. Like, I don't remember, like, is that just because of the current configuration of Phoenix, or is that just, has it always been that way? Because I just thought that was very, very bizarre. Especially since it never even gave us another lap too. I thought iRacing would just automatically trigger an extra lap added or something for the caution.
I think maybe it's different because it was a private lobby. Maybe. But I would have thought it would have automatically delayed it also. So because I feel like the iRacing control would recognize that not enough cars are caught up to the pack. So, it's very sensitive in fixed events too. Like, you could just have one guy sit on the apron somewhere and iRacing delays the green. So I was surprised at the fact that there were so many of us not caught up to the field, or I mean, unless it just doesn't register like wave rounds or something like that, and it just goes whenever the leaders are ready. That's how it senses it. But I think we all agreed after that race too. Like, Andrew, I thought you said you'd be like right there on the controls if we weren't caught up, just to extend the caution by a lap or 2. Yeah, I mean, that's probably just the thing to do. Is if there's any doubt about it, somebody should be on the controls.
Yeah.
I think another problem is the pace car goes in like so quickly that I would it be too late after the pace car pulls in, and because doesn't it give us the green light before turn 3?
That's a good question. I don't know if it Yeah, I mean, because of the track configuration makes it weird. But yeah, I don't know if we would be able to pull that once the pace car enters the pits. Surely you'd be able to.
I thought you could do it at any point before green flag, and I know green flag isn't until after the box, but
so
or
then
like the end of the box.
So then, yeah, it shouldn't matter where the pace car physically is. Yeah, and I think that's just like I said, just the configuration at Phoenix is weird. With where everything is located, like pretty much as soon as you get off the final corner and you get into 1 and 2, the pace car's already pulled in. Which is a shame. I wish the technology was there for iRacing to actually mandate the restart within the restart box. You'd think they have that technology. I'm sure at some point they would attempt to figure that out.
And a choose cone would be really cool.
Yeah. I feel like they would be able to do choose cone too. I mean, a lot of short tracks do that kind of stuff. So I'm surprised that, isn't already a feature. Well, I mean, like even Karma, I forgot about it until Karma mentioned it. Because I think, Puck, you were leading on that restart, right?
Yes.
So like even Karma gave you the option to start high or low, and it doesn't matter because iRacing doesn't penalize you for starting, wherever. In terms of like within your row. So yeah, that was. So I got to remember that too when we move forward and choosing lanes. I think a few other leagues have done that as well.
I have led both of Nitro's nice laps so far.
Have you really?
I have.
My best lap was on 68, so was Andrew's. We were one away from greatness. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I thought Phoenix was a great race. I mean, like I said, it was spread out. I never really battled many people, or had the. I mean, I did have the chance early on. I just didn't really have the tires for it. And it was pretty strung out for the rest of the field, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was a bad race though. Like, I thought it was fairly good in Nitro standards. I mean, we always joke that Nitro standards is wrecking every 5 laps or whatnot. But the fact that we only had 1 caution and stayed fairly clean, especially with the experience that we had in the lobby too. I mean, it ranged from Andrew and Karma being 4K I ratings down to whoever the lowest is with, whatever I rating number. It was still fairly good in that regard. But yeah, at the end of the day, Andrew goes on to win. I wouldn't say it was necessarily an easy win for you either. I mean, you had to pass, like I said, you had the lucky dog in that last restart, and then you had to pass Karma and Hayden there, and probably Duncan as well. So I'm sure that was that put up a good challenge for you.
Yeah, it was not easy in the slightest.
Yeah, I kind of tried to let him go because, like, I was being a little realistic. Heading into turn 3, there was one corner where, I was like, is he going for this? So I backed out of braking at the last second to move up a lane for you just in case. Because you were on my bumper and you were going in there hot and narrow, and I was like, oh man, maybe he's trying to get a move on you.
I was just trying not to kill the tires while staying as close as I could. But I don't know, once I got to Hayden, I felt like, because it took me a couple laps to complete the pass on Puck. And then once I got caught up to Hayden's rear bumper, I was kind of like, I got to go now, because if we end up catching Karma because of the way he took off, I knew he was going to be using a lot more tire. Because I think he was just wanting the control of the race and the track position, so he was going a little harder. But I'm like, if we get to him, as long as it might take to try to get the lead, I've got to try to pass Hayden before we get there on the back end. And so it took a few laps trying to get around him, and then with a little bit of a lucky netcode bump and some hard racing, we got that spot, and then it took a little bit longer to catch Karma. I was surprised, I felt like once I got to Karma, it was easy to get around him, once I got the pass set up. So I was a little confused about that, because it didn't seem like he put up too much of a fight once I got to him or beside him. But then at the end of the race, I felt like it sort of stalled out again. Where like, I mean, I think he lost most of his time at the end just because he was battling with Hayden, but then he ended up holding on to P2 by some margin.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, it was kind of weird. Like I don't know if there's something funky going on with like the tires or something with these cars or what was going on, but
yeah, and I do know. I mean, looking back from replays, it looks like Karma on that restart tried to get a very early lead, and I think he was kind of bottom feeding too. I mean, I don't think he was really comfortable enough to move to the middle or even the very top in 1 and 2. So he might have worn out the right front enough to where he just couldn't put up a fight with you.
yeah, it could have been. I don't know. I'm a little bamboozled about some of the various tire things and such from that race.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, as the season goes on, I'll kind of figure it out. But
yeah, and once again, like Phoenix is such a weird track too. I mean, it's so unique compared to anything else. I mean, every track is unique, but just in terms of the layout of Phoenix is just different, and these cars too. I mean, these Xfinity cars are, like I had mentioned, just so different compared to anything else. I mean, they're so different than trucks, so different than ARCA. You can't compare them to super late models, and you definitely can't compare them to Cup now. You can't compare anything to Cup. You can't even compare it to the last gen. So it's such a different car, and not many people are used to racing with this. So I'm kind of hoping this car provides pretty good racing throughout the season, just because it's so different. Might aid other driving styles compared to some others, and vice versa. So, but at the end of the day, Mr. Andrew Wisdom goes home with the win with 40 points. Mr. Matthew O'Brien in second. Mr. Hayden Loll, is that how you pronounce it? Well, it's Loll. He said say wall, but added an L, so Loll. But he finished third. Good showing for him on his first start. Then myself in fourth, Mr. Caleb Kermit in fifth, Duncan O'Connor, Mr. Puck in sixth, Gary Owen seventh, Riley eighth, Bren Roberts, your Daytona winner, finishes ninth, first car lap down, Luke Heck 10th, Gale in 11th, Gary Bingaman in 12th, 2 laps down, Sisler 13th, MJ in 14th, Jay 15th, and we had did not finishes of Joe and Lazy, who I think left early. I think Lazy was just starting parking it. And I think maybe Joe did the same thing too. So yeah, that wasn't bad after that race. Points wise, after everything is all said and done from the first 2 events, we have, let me pull this up really quick. Andrew currently leads it with 70 points. Bren in second, so that Daytona win's definitely helping him with 68 points. Karma is tied with him at 68. Caleb down in fourth, also tied with Duncan for 66 points. I'm in sixth with 61. Sisler 53 points, tied with Gale. Riley, Luke, and Gary Owen all tied with 52 points for ninth place. Lazy, Mr. Justin Aheimer, 12th, 51 points. Gary Bingaman, 13th, 49. Followed by Jay, MJ, Joe, Hayden after his first start in 17th, and Blake, who hasn't made a start since Daytona, in 18th. That's actually not bad, considering that 18 guys on that point standing sheet, and 2 of them have only made 1 start so far. So pretty good numbers. I mean, I expect the numbers to go up. I know we'll be getting Mr. Mahu in. So yeah, another Matt to add to the iRacing roster. That will make it, what, 5 Matts? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that'll make it 5. So we'll have 5 Matts in there. Because I think he got his PC already, right? I think he's committed to iRacing, what, for Vegas next week?
Yeah, I mean, there was always the small chance of him actually being ready to go for this week, but I don't know if it was a financial side of things or what, but I think Vegas is definitely likely.
First one. Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I mean, he's obviously been a very good performer on Heat and on F1. And I mean, just like anyone starting out on iRacing, you gotta start somewhere. So, but it'll be interesting to see how quickly he maybe picks it up, or what he finds off the bat.
It's gonna be long.
Unfortunately. don't let our hopes down, please.
Well, he's going to be one of my teammates, so not so unfortunate.
There you go. Yeah, and I know I forgot you guys made you guys are mix and match, right? I just recently followed you guys on Twitter.
Yeah, the fun little gimmick about our team is we're going to be running a Supra, Mustang, and a Camaro.
There you go. I think that's the beauty of it too. Like, I'm glad we don't have anything in place to run the same manufacturer. I mean, I would love that. I just want to force Bingaman to drive a Ford. But yeah, no, that'll be a lot of fun. So that's everything with that. Next week we once again go to Las Vegas for round 3 of our 20 race season. We'll see if Andrew can continue pulling that points lead out or if someone else comes out on top. Let's see. We've done quite a lot of recording. Honestly, this podcast has been doing pretty good, so we'll keep it going for a little bit. Couple short things I want to discuss because we're going to be thinking about it, obviously, as season 11 comes to a close with F1 and NASCAR. Mr. Tom Henderson, who I think has been a very widely known kind of F1 leak guy, so to speak, or has been true with his leaks and things coming out, put up an article on xfire.com about F1 22 or 2022, talking about crossplay as being a thing for it, and some other changes throughout the game. Apparently getting rid of the story mode, but being replaced by this F1 Life thing. I don't like. Apparently includes drivable supercars. We'll see what that comes to. But obviously with 2022 new car regs, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the handling of those are going to be, how different it's going to be, what maybe stays the same or different, setups, whatever that might be. But the opportunity for crossplay, and that's going to be a big talk for Nitro. Now, I've always been the one where, and I think several can agree in Nitro, F1 has been a very strong league in Nitro's history, like with barely any problems with the games, fairly consistent. You know, we can go into the games and enjoy the racing for what it is and not worry about the game itself being, you know, weird or whatever. Do you guys think, especially with crossplay, do you think this is something Karma and us are going to consider, you know, for season 12 if we decide to continue the F1 side?
I think we have to, because, I mean, with the Heat 5 side of things dying and iRacing really picking up steam for as many of us as we can get into it, I just think a lot of people are ready to completely put aside the Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it being on crossplay will still accommodate the few people who will want to stick with the Xbox too. So, yeah. I think it just works for everyone, really.
And with Bacon, like, I want to hear your thoughts too, because you just got a Series S, right? So. Yeah. You know, that should be great for you because you're obviously in a situation where, you know, you're obviously trying to look for a PC, but it's, you know, it's not going to be anytime soon. So, you know, I'm sure for you're going to be happy if we continue it and do crossplay or use the crossplay feature that you can still race with us.
Yeah, it's good change. I just, being part of this, like, this kind of league community has always been fun for how many years I've done it, and being like with maybe the iRacing, like my time is coming up, but I don't want it to be anytime soon. So this at least lengthens that period until I can maybe hold out and maybe make that move when I can to iRacing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we've definitely had our ups and downs, but it's, yeah, like you said, it's just the one series that's stuck around. And now, Andrew, you've left us on both, you know, games on Xbox. Is this maybe something you'd be interested in coming back to, you know, if we decide to continue to F1 2022?
Yeah, I mean, I'll buy it for PC, but I don't see myself buying really any games for Xbox anymore. At least for now, I'm probably not going to upgrade to the new gen console, and my old one is not doing so hot, so if they have true cross-platform, I'll probably consider it.
And that's if it works too.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, I mean, currently our issues with 2021 is the wheel support has been awful. It's just been really inconsistent for a lot of us. A lot of us on Thrustmaster wheels, on Logitech wheels, we've just been having force feedback issues and such. Whereas I think on PC, those issues really aren't there. So, hopefully, small, minor things like that, or at least what we consider small and minor, is, won't be an issue for crossplay. That going from platform to platform, it's not going to cause, issues or netcode issues or, what have you. So it's something to keep in mind. I mean, we are approaching that time where official news articles on the new game will be out. I mean, I think it was around Easter last year. I think we had stuff on the game, or they tried to do it like right at the start of the summer, so like June or something. They let us know. We'll see how that develops. Actually, you know what we forgot to talk about?
The update.
We forgot to talk about the iRacing updates. Okay, rapid fire. What are you guys excited for in the update? I'll start with you, Andrew. What do you look forward to? Trugs!
Trug bodies.
Trug body! Which body are you gonna use?
I don't know. They're all ugly. I'm allowed to be excited if I think they're ugly. I don't know.
Oh, come on. Really? Like, I mean even the Chevy. I think this, like, a Silverado probably the best looking one. Maybe.
I feel like they didn't change it that much. I'm honestly leaning towards the Ford.
Ooh,
but
okay.
My odd thing is that, like, I don't hate the Toyota, but I don't really like it either.
Okay.
It's got to be in a certain color scheme to hide some of that, like, ugliness on the nose.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, whatever weird bits are on the nose. Like, do you own all the Chevys, Andrew? Or not all the Chevys. Do you own all the truck bodies, or just okay. Like which one do you think will be the first one you maybe make a paint on or something?
Probably the Ford.
Ford. Okay. Buck, what about you?
I'm looking forward to the I think it was the Formula 4 cars that they're adding in.
Yeah, so they call it the Formula IR04. So I think it's supposed to mimic what, a F2 car, F3, or is it something else?
I just like to see them trying to grow on the open wheel side of things. It's not something I've done yet on iRacing, but I think towards the summertime, once I finally get done buying all my stock cars and all my stock car tracks, I can finally start to put a little bit of money and time into that side of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm like currently on a road rating. I'm currently B class on road. I'm kind of hoping this IR04 is like a C or B class car, because at the moment I'm not really having any road series in particular that I'm really enjoying or like aim to do. So I feel like if this is like a B or C class series, then hands down I'll do it. Yeah, I think that's good. There's so many good things in season 2 coming up here in iRacing. You got the Brazilian stock cars, Brazilian, right?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah, Brazilian stock cars of the Toyota Corolla and the Chevy Cruze. That'll be a really cool addition. Buick LeSabre, the 1987 car. So another 87 car. I'm probably going to buy that. I really like the look of that over the Thunderbird. I-55, a dirt track. And
track, yeah.
Yeah. You got that. We got Winton Motor Raceway. Where's Winton even located? Does anyone know?
Earth.
Good talk.
What's it called?
Winton. Yeah, is that like in the UK or something?
Australia.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if supercars will go there then. Oh, actually, yeah, yes. Does supercars go to Winton? Oh, dude. Oh.
Well, okay, they at least used to. I'm not sure if they. I'm looking. I don't know if the modern ones go there or not. A lot of the pictures are from like the mid 2000s.
Okay.
Oh yeah, this one's from. I don't know. Hit or miss. Not sure.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, there's definitely.
Okay, they went to 2020, at least in 2020. I don't know if they're still going or not.
Okay. Yeah, unless it's like a COVID thing or something, if they were going to different or certain tracks or not. Maybe. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not I need to be a bigger supercar fan because especially with their new Gen 3 car, everything looks so good on it.
They need a better TV deal in the United States, but that is a subject for a whole different conversation.
That is, yeah. Like I have the Motor Trend app and they're on there, thankfully, but that's like the only thing we can really get from it. Not everyone's going to subscribe to Motor Trend on demand, which you honestly should because it's pretty damn cheap to get. It's like $50 a year. But yeah, they just need to secure a better TV deal. Yeah, again, good things coming out. I mean, some updated damage models for certain cars. They're apparently going to improve their netcode system, so I'm just to see how that goes. I'm kind of with Andrew here. I'm looking for the truck body. I'm looking forward to the F-150 because I'm such a Ford guy, Ford fan, so I think I'm looking forward to that. They're also adding a, let me see, where is this under? They're adding, not visual effects, interface. They're adding this new dash box display. It's going to be available within the iRacing in-sim interface. You can enable and disable it by pressing the D key, which I think this is the very first, like it sounds like an actual display gauge, like kind of like your UI on NASCAR Heat or F1 or Forza or any racing game. It looks like they're going to have a interface for your HUD, which I think will help the guys with a 3-screen monitor set. Like even for guys like Gary Bingaman, for instance, in Nitro, who like, because it's so zoomed in on the windshield, he can barely see his gauges. So that should be really cool for him. And obviously you can adjust that. It mentions something about like elements, color-coded RPM and temperature value, so it has to be showing everything there. So that's going to be really cool. And
one thing I noticed that they sort of slipped under the radar, in my opinion, is that I think it says they are updating the tire branding and decals on the ARCA cars. So maybe we're getting General Tire in on the ARCA cars somewhere towards the bottom, I think, of the patch notes.
You think it's okay, so cars, let's take a look. Next gen. Oh, okay. Arkham and ARCs. They mentioned, new damage model, vehicle floor and rear damage. Yeah, tire branding and decals have been updated for both tires and patterns, and iRacing setups updated. That should be interesting. Now, I know, Andrew, you've been talking about this too. We're kind of hoping that like the old Gen 6 bodies become ARCA, because that is basically what ARCA is now. Like that'd be so cool if they did that.
Yeah, I think the Gen 4 cars are neat, but I think they need to be their own thing. I think they need to like take the similar horsepower numbers of the current ARCA car and stick it on the Gen 6 bodies from like 2013-ish probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's about the bodies they're using, the old Fusion and SS and all that.
Too much body roll on the Gen 4 for what ARCA currently is today, I think.
Right. And I still think like it would be so cool if they had like kind of from the roots. I mean, the roots of iRacing is NASCAR racing. It'd be so cool if there was like a NASCAR Racing 2003 kind of update. If they had the old 03, cars, Gen 4 cars then, and that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I feel like they're not going to be afraid to do that, considering that they're still adding on to the 87 collection of all the NASCARs. So,
acquired, who'd they acquire? Monster Games?
Yeah, they acquired Monster, which were making. Yeah, they were making the Heat games. It was just 704 was one publishing them.
Maybe they can add some older stuff.
Maybe we'll have to see. So that was our hot takes there for season 2 release, which will already be live and available as the podcast goes up. Of course, I haven't been posting on social media, neither has Karma or anyone like that, but obviously feel free to follow us on Twitter. We are at League Nitro, and I'll maybe get a couple posts there, kind of get the interest back in the league on social media. And of course, all points updates, be sure to check us out on nxrl.weebly.com. Check out everything there with Nitro. So I think that was that. A much longer episode, but I think it's worth putting everything in there. And I hope you guys enjoy, obviously, all of your hot takes as well. Feel free to write them down in the comments section below. With that, Bacon, Puck, and Andrew, thank you again for joining us here on the podcast. And we look forward to seeing you guys in episode 11 next week of the Nitro Racing League Network podcast. Until next time, I'm Matt Chaffe. and we'll see ya.